but dropping his new album this past weekend. Friends That Break Your Heart. And if the title doesn't give it away, James Blake, folks, he's in his feelings again. Dave, were you surprised by that?
No, no, I guess not. Still with Jamila Jamil, actress made famous by The Good Place. Notably, Jamil has multiple producer credits on this album. So the feels, the emotions seem to be tested and tried out with the relationship. I don't know. I guess that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's kind of funny to like think back on the arc of James Blake's musical output because it's definitely an interesting curve, right? Like even just the last two out things we've talked about, the Before EP last year and the Assume Form, his most recent album in 2019. There's like a lot of variety in terms of like what he's trying to do.
Mhm.
And I think because there's like ebbs and flows to the sound of James Blake, there's also ebbs and flows, I think, to my uh not appreciation of it, but appetite for it because he's
Mhm.
changing it up so much. Like there's James Blake I like and there's James Blake I definitely don't really like either. So
Yeah.
I think it depends what James Blake you're listening to.
Yeah. It was funny. When I was listening to this the first time through, I was just like, man, this is like really good, but it's also just not for everybody. And like the thing is, you can appreciate that he is like an expert at crafting songs. I think one of the things I'm just always impressed by in his music is like the texture of songs, the way that like it can really like give you a feeling and a place and like it just like puts you wherever he wants to put you emotionally. But it's also just sometimes too dreary or sad or downright boring. And I found myself kind of going up and down on this album a lot. Whereas Assume Form, I was just really impressed almost the whole way through and felt like everything worked. I felt like on this album, I was a little bit more like, oh, that one stood out. This track kind of fell off, and it was a little more up and down for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not. Yeah, so Assume Form's definitely my second favorite album from his after Overgrown, of course, which is kind of like the touchstone at this point.
Mhm.
And this definitely wasn't as like dreary as the color of it, everything. The third album,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like you said, it's up and down, and that like dreaminess that he brings with his singing, with his production style. Uh, I think the effectiveness again was up and down a bit. So there were definitely some cool moments. Again, he's an eclectic artist. Everyone knows that at this point, but it didn't sound like as groundbreaking as past moments from James Blake have.
Yeah. I think I felt a little frustrated by this, right? Especially because like over the course of the pandemic, when a lot of artists were doing like the Instagram lives, playing music for free to their fans, you know, he dropped this version of Godspeed that got like a lot of attention, and like I don't think it's better than Frank's. I think some people would disagree. I think some people feel like he almost like made the song his, but it just had this like twist to it where his voice and his vocal performance just evokes so much emotion and can portray so much. And I think at times, like on this, I almost felt like he almost got too lost in trying to make things too perfect or just too overproduced, and like songs like Los Angel Nights.
Mm,
I feel like his vocal performance on that, and I'm pretty sure if this is the one that I'm thinking of, and I'm now getting a little confused. Like things drop out at the end, and it's just like him singing, and you can just hear in his voice, and that's what like sucks me in. You're just like
mm.
super impressed with how he can portray what he's trying to get through. Then there's songs like I don't know, Famous Last Words, the first song, just feel totally flat for me, and just felt like it didn't really work that well. Maybe it's just like too too much, but like it just feels like something's missing. I guess I can't really put my finger on it at the
Right.
moment.
I mean, he's always been a hard one to put your finger on, even what his sound is. It changes a lot, but it's also hard to pin down. Um, in terms of the moments that actually did stand out to me in a good way, you mentioned Los Angel Nights. I think just in general, the vocal performance for that whole song is really impressive. There's those
Mhm.
moments where his vocals are kind of like doubled up on each
Yeah.
other. It sounds awesome. Um, Foot Forward, I liked. I thought
Yep.
the piano sound was nice, which would make sense because Metro Boomin's one of the producers on this, along with Frank Dukes. And in general, I think the chorus on Foot Forward's really good. And I also thought I'm So Blessed You're Mine. The production, there's like a drop, like a minute in. It's really like glitzy and unlike what you've been hearing to that point in the album. On the other hand, though, like, I thought all the singles were kind of dull, So it's not his best, but it's also his fifth album. So I guess it's okay. He's gonna do things. This is James Blake. He went back to his DJ roots last year on the Before EP. So
Yeah.
you can't count him out in terms of what he's gonna do.
I think I've mentioned I've seen him DJ live, and he's
Mm,
really talented. But I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on a song like "Frozen" with JID and Sway Vay.
mm,
There's some real interesting production choices, almost like kind of harkens back to like Kendrick Lamar and Good Kid, Mad City production choices in terms of
mm.
changing the vocals up, speeding them down, pitching them up or down. What did you think of that song, "Frozen"?
Yeah, no, I guess it's interesting, especially with Jid coming on. And James Blake's always been pretty affiliated with pop and hip hop, just because people would seek him out because of his unique skills and all that. And on the other hand, I don't know if I've ever been wowed by him alongside like a rapper.
Hmm.
Like he's not the best part of J Rock's King's Dead, for
Hmm.
example, even though he's on that song. But it was cool to hear Jid, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting song because I thought those production choices stood out, but I don't know if the song overall really stood out. Like Suave's verse in particular, just felt like didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of these. I don't know. He's a frustrating artist because I just feel like I just want to like love his stuff, and it's like right there, but it just
Right,
never really catches me the way that I hope it does. So
right.
I don't know, disappointing. But I think it's time to move on from music. If you want to check out our favorite tracks off these albums or all the albums that we talked about this year, go to Spotify and search Nostalgia Best of 2021.